All right, so I've had my car for over a year now. So it's been about 18 months, or I should say a year and a half. And I'm ready to do a full review of the car and everything I love, like, and hate about this car. So we're going to go to a deep dive, talk about everything that we want to talk about. I'll be brutally honest with this car. I won't hold anything back, and I'll only talk about what came with the car. So I won't talk about the accessories that I added or anything else. That'll be for a separate video. But for this video, I'm just going to talk about anything that came with the car or that got updated throughout the years that I really... Excuse the rain. I know it's raining a little bit, but we could still make the video even though it's raining. So the first thing I want to talk about is the look and build quality of the car. So I love the look of the Tesla Model 3, and that's one of the reasons why I bought it. It's not the best looking car, but it's very good looking. Well, it looked futuristic at the time of release. Right now it's just really common, but the look of it, the headlights was one of the best factors of it. And also the front trunk and the no grill was very crazy at the time, because electric cars don't need a big huge grill, and Tesla Model 3 being out there with no grill, that was really cool. And for me, that was one of the things that I really liked. But the design is compromised by the build quality. So the car has some panel gaps that might need to be addressed, but I never booked a service for it. For example, you can see here that the gap for the front trunk is a little big here, it's thin over here, and it's perfectly fit over here. So that's something that could be easily fixed, but I just haven't done a service to fix that. Another panel gap would be, so if you look here, it is a big gap here, but then when you go down, it is fit perfectly. It's only on the top here that it is too much of a big gap. And if you look on the other side, it's perfect here. A little too open, but is at least is equally the same size all around. So that's another thing that could fix, but that's another thing that came with the car. So the panel gaps on the doors and on the front trunk. For the rest of the car, I did have an issue here with the trunk. This part was really open. This one I had it fixed, but I'll put a picture up of the how the trunk was on the release or the delivery. But this one I had it fixed, so now it's even seamless. But I do feel like they overcorrected it and it's too low compared to this trim here. But nevertheless, this was good. It was fixed, so I'm fine with that. Other things that I had issues with, not really issues. I think the rest of the car was perfect. I did have a little bit of issues with the doors. So if you can see here, I don't know if you guys can see, but the door sits in more on this one than this one. So if you see here, the door sits exactly on the frame. But if you look at this one, it goes in a little bit. I didn't fix it because I didn't see it much of an issue. But it's something that I could fix because I'm still under warranty, but it's not really something that bothers me, so I'm fine with that. Oh, and another thing is that when you're opening and closing the doors, you don't need that much force to close the front doors. It's closed. But with the passenger doors, the rear passengers, you do need a little bit more force. So maybe it's hard to demonstrate. For example, if I just do like this, it will not close, but I have to push it a little bit more and it closes. This one, do the same, like this, closes perfectly. But again, that's not really a big issue, and that's something I could fix myself, so it's not something that really bothers. So all in all, the design of the outside, the build quality for the most part is perfect. The charge port works perfectly, no issues with the charge port. Everything else just seemed fine. So those are the only issues, is the panel gaps on the front trunk, panel gaps here, and also the opening and closing of the rear doors. But again, those aren't huge issues. Those are just little issues that could be fixed, but I haven't bothered to make a service request. But I really love the design. So that's something that I really liked about the car. And it's something that a lot of people most likely like. If you're being honest, the Tesla Model 3 is a good looking EV. But if you're talking about cars in general, there's a lot of different cars that I find to look better, but I really like the design. I like how the door handles are flush with the door. I like how the mirrors fit perfectly with the shape of the car. I like how the front is very sloped down and that the wheels are very integrated with the front hood, and it just looks perfect. There's no issues with the design, just the panel gaps. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the exterior. So now let's talk about the inside. So as you can see, there are some changes from the OEM spec, but we're just going to talk about the design that came with the car and not the modifications yet. That again will be for another video. But let's start here with the door handles. Holds up pretty great, no issues with the doors. I do put some miscellaneous things in here, but everything seems perfect. Did have an issue with the windows not going up automatically, but I was able to recalibrate them and it worked fine from there. Then if you look at the steering wheel, no issues with the steering wheel. I know the new Tesla Model S's do have the material peeling off. I don't have that issue, and I do make sure that the steering wheel is clean because I need a clean steering wheel. The seats, so let's look at the seats. They are due for cleaning, but it held up pretty well. So I have a little bit of wrinklage over here, not very visible on camera, and that's pretty much it. I don't think there's anything else that's like too bad with the seats. That's why I love the white seats. Yes, you do have to clean them, but it's not that bad as people try to make it out to be. And yeah, if you look here, it's a little bit bluish on the side here on the corner, a little bit of wrinklage, but that's pretty much it. So the white seats do hold up very well if you take the time and clean them. It doesn't take too much work to clean them. It's very easy to clean. And this is the seat that I use all the time. So I have 22,000 kilometers. So all those 22,000 kilometers, someone obviously sat on the seat. I don't have FSD, don't have summon. So obviously every single kilometer that you see in the car, someone was sitting here and I was the person sitting here. So that was great. There's no sign of like fraying on this side, only on this side here. If I zoom in, maybe you'll see that little wrinkle there. And that's pretty much the only thing on this car that shows wear and tear. Other than that, the inside here is perfect. I do need to clean the mat, but everything is holding up extremely well. So if you look here on the front passenger, can go here. The seat doesn't have any issues whatsoever because there's less seating over here, so there's not going to be that wrinkle that you see on the other side. So the passenger seat is perfect, no damages, no wrinkles, very clean. And yeah, so that's why you don't really need to get the black seat if you're scared of the dirt of the Tesla Model 3 white seats or the Y white seats. It holds up very well. Yes, you might have to clean it once in a while, but obviously you're gonna have to clean your black seats as well. So it doesn't really matter if you have the white seats or black seats, as long as you get the one that you really like. And you can see here that this holds up very well. Everything holds up very nicely. The center console holds up perfectly. As you can see, I even have the tray straight from Tesla. And armrest, perfect. No issues with this. Still has a bunch of space down here. All right. So now we can look at the back seat. All right, so looking at the back seat, I barely have anyone sitting up here. So it's very pristine. It's almost as if it was new. I only had a couple people sit back here, like maybe once or twice. In fact, I can literally count on one or two hands how many people sat in the back seat. So I don't have any issues with it. No wrinkles here. Nothing. Everything just seems perfect with the back seat. I'll sit here so I can show you guys the view of the car from the inside. Looks amazing. And obviously one thing that I really love about the Tesla is the glass roof. So that's one thing that Tesla does right, is the glass roof, and it comes standard with all of their cars. So that's something that's very nice. Got the rear climate, can control it like this. The USB-C's here. Have the pockets behind the seats over here. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. One thing too, you can bring the seats down. And yeah, but with the seats down, you get more trunk space, which is...
I'm not sure I understand.
All right, Siri. Okay. Well, with the seat down, you get more trunk space, which is very useful when you have a Tesla Model 3 because this is not a hatch. Tesla Model Y, you don't really need to bring the seat down because it has a hatch and you have a lot more space. But for Tesla Model 3, bringing the seat down is a must. And since I don't have too much people sitting in the back seat, I would use the seat down more than I would use people in the back seat. So that's a great feature right there. And since we're talking about the trunk, let's go with the trunk. So one thing as well about the 2023 Tesla model, well, 2022 and onwards, or 2021 and onwards, I should say, the trunk is automatic. Before that, it was a manual trunk. So I'm happy for the automatic trunk. Have my towels, have my charging. I never really needed to use the charging of the Tesla Model 3, the mobile charger. I just have it just in case. Have the sub trunk over here with a bunch of stuff. But yeah, the trunk space is very good. Literally, I could put all of this inside the sub trunk and have this emptied out. So realistically, the trunk space on the Tesla Model 3 is amazing. And not only that, is that you have the front trunk as well. So let's open the front trunk. Right. Open the front trunk. So we also have the front trunk available. So the trunk space on the Tesla is amazing. Again, more supplies that I could have just left in the trunk. But the front trunk is a very good bonus. It's not a necessity, but it is a bonus. All right, and there are a few intangibles that I can't really put into paper, but it's just really the feeling of the car when you sit inside the car. So I sat inside Polestar 2, and for some reason, the interior just felt more complete and had a better feel of just a better feel of quality. With the Tesla Model 3, I didn't have this issue until I sat into another car. And it does feel like a little bit of a toy. Like, it's just light inside, which is very minimal, which I really love. I love the minimalism, just one screen. I'm a tech guy, so I love that. But the thing is, it just doesn't feel like a car when you drive other cars. For example, if you're driving a BMW or Mercedes, my sister drives a Mercedes, so when I drive her car, when I'm inside her car, it just feels a little bit more of a compact feeling car and just feels more like a car. So that's the only thing that I can talk about of the interior that I don't like. Other than that, I love the interior. I love everything about it. And yeah, that's pretty much good. Oh, I forgot one thing. I don't like this camera here, even though it's only used for autopilot, just to monitor your eyes. I just don't like the fact that it's always there and it's always looking at you. So that's the only issue I have. I know there's accessories that you can put to cover it up, but other than that, that's pretty much it. But I love the screen. The screen quality is good. The responsiveness of the screen is amazing. Always having connection is great. LTE connection, have different updates, different features that you can use. I just love the screen so much. It just has everything that you want in a Tesla, or everything that you might need and want in a car. It has, and more. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the interior. And yeah, so we can look at the seats and everything. It just looks brand new and looks amazing. So yeah, I love this car so much. All right, so we talked about the outside, we talked about the inside, we talked about the trunk, we talked about practicality. We talked also about the gaps and the things I just didn't like in general. But now we're going to go into one of the most important parts of owning a Tesla, and that is the software. So if we look at the software of the Tesla Model 3, a lot has changed ever since I got the car. So we had software updates out the wazoo. If you know Tesla, you know that they have software updates and it makes the experience a lot better. For example, before I didn't have the blind spot monitoring when I was driving, but it came as a software update and that just made it even better. Not only that, there was a second software update that allowed me to move it around and customize the location of the blind spot camera when I put in the blind spot, or when I put in the blinkers, sorry. So the fact that the updates are making the car even better, after a year and a half of owning this car, just makes this car so much better. For example, if you were to buy some Audi in 2022 and you had the car for a year and a half, you cannot get anything more from the software, from software updates. So much has changed. For example, we have Apple Music now. Before, I was complaining I wanted Apple Music so bad because I use Apple Music, but now we have Apple Music and we can listen to music straight from here without complaints. Another thing, we have Disney Plus. Before, we didn't have Disney Plus. We only had Netflix, YouTube, and Twitch. Disney Plus was added. That's a great thing. And if you look at arcade, there's a few games that came in that they had Cuphead added, and that was really nice. And now with a future software update, they're going to make the controller Bluetooth. So see, software updates on the Tesla just makes the car even better. Energy app also had an update. So it had more information about energy that you're using. So for example, right now I'm parked and it's telling me exactly how much percentage the screen is using, how much percentage everything else is using. So we see we had a Sentry mode clip recorded and it's showing that we use 0.1% of Sentry mode. So that's the thing of the Tesla. It's just, it comes with new updates. It makes the car even better. That's why when you own a Tesla Model 3, Y, X, or S, you can't necessarily judge it by how you got it from the beginning, because the software updates that you get, it just changes the usage of the car completely. And you can go from liking a car to loving a car just by the software updates alone. So yeah, overall, the 1.5 year review of the Tesla Model 3 2022 Tesla Model 3 with 22,000 kilometers. Very, very good car. 100% recommend it. And I'm going to make another video talking about what you need to prepare for before buying an EV and how you can prepare to get an EV and what EVs you should get. So that video is going to come. But for now, you guys can enjoy the 2022 Tesla Model 3 22,000 kilometers review. So yeah, I love this car. Very, very good car. 100% recommend it. Very good. So yeah, let me know what you guys think of the car and what you guys think of all the things that I said about it and in the review. Let me know if you would get this car as well.